A glittering fragment of the rainbow. A lovely little creature, moving on humming winglets through the air, suspended as if by magic in it, flitting from one flower to another, with motions as graceful as they are light and airy. Audubon, 1840. The astonishing names given to hummingbirds in the different countries impress even the most inspired imaginations. The enchantment of a hummingbird is impossible to resist. Ever since their discovery in the New World, hummingbirds have evoked a special fascination in humans, due to their agility in flight and the splendid metallic colors of their plumage, which led even the earliest societies to call them winged jewels. Of all the many families into which birds are classified, none is as numerous and at the same time as variable in the different forms it contains, as brilliant in its plumage, and as different from all other birds in its mode of life as the hummingbirds. Without doubt, hummingbirds are the most extraordinary group of birds on the planet. So extraordinary, in fact, that we are captivated by virtually every facet of these diminutive creatures' existence. Hummingbirds are undeniably the most agile of birds in flight, and their way of life, as they flit from flower to flower, pollinating each of them in turn, has led them to become true servants of the plant world. Hummingbirds are distributed throughout the Americas, from Alaska to Patagonia, though most of them are concentrated in South America. Hummingbirds appeared late in the evolutionary timescale, roughly 3 million years ago. They evolved from strictly insectivorous ancestors, with slender bills that hunted insects in mid-flight in the wet forests of South America, filled with flowering plants. Today, numerous flowering plant species conserve their ancestral pollinators, the insects. Why then did some plants adopt hummingbirds to partially or completely replace insects as their pollinators? For some unknown reason, the ancestors of modern hummingbirds began to drink nectar, and the host plants benefited from this evolutionary tendency, which resulted in a parallel evolution in which the bodies of hummingbirds were modified to be more efficient at capturing nectar, and flowers were adapted to facilitate pollination by hummingbirds. In tropical forests, numerous hummingbird species carry out pollination. Nonetheless, many plants maintain their original pollinators, the insects. However, Butterflies and other insects are at a disadvantage when it comes to serving as pollinators. They are cold-blooded and fragile, and so are not entirely reliable. When it rains, and in tropical forests it rains every day, insects must seek cover and cannot play the important role of pollinator. In contrast, warm-blooded and relatively robust animals, like hummingbirds, can be active in the rain. In fact, they rather seem to enjoy it. Hummingbirds can often be seen scratching themselves with frenzy when bothered by external parasites. In the rain, however, hummingbirds refresh themselves with delight, while at the same time eliminating the external parasites that damage their plumage. The small insects that can be seen moving quickly along the hummingbird's bill are flower parasites. These parasites take advantage of the hummingbird's feeding habits to hitch a ride from one flower to the next, thus gaining easy access to their next victim. In high-altitude mountainous regions like the Andes, it is often difficult for insects to fly and to pollinate flowers, whereas hummingbirds are active all day long, regardless of the weather. The high peaks of the Andes are frequently shrouded in clouds, and it is here that hummingbirds truly come into their own. More than 50% of the plant species in the Paramo rely on hummingbirds to pollinate their flowers, as the birds are very dependable allies, even on cold and humid mornings. Wherever extreme weather conditions make it difficult for insects to fly and to pollinate flowers, plants have adopted hummingbirds as vital partners to ensure the survival of their species. From an evolutionary point of view, plants have undoubtedly been responsible for influencing the hummingbird's most notable and distinguishing characteristics, precisely those elements that permit their taxonomic classification: their form, size, colors, and the shape of their bill. Among the hummingbird's most extraordinary characteristics is the dazzling iridescent shimmer produced by their plumage. A hummingbird's natural colors, product of the pigmentation of its feathers, are dull and dark. However, within the feathers are complex microscopic structures that at certain angles cause light to break down, much like an optical prism. Some light frequencies are then recombined and reflected in the colors of the rainbow, so that at certain angles the feathers seem to glitter with the reflection of sunlight. This is especially evident in the feathers of the throat and chest, as well as those of the forehead. Why have hummingbirds evolved such an exceptional physical trait? It all seems to be related to the fight for females and for territories where they obtain their food. Hummingbirds employ a wide range of territorial displays, in which the exhibition of their plumage plays an important role in determining the dominant individual, who then takes possession of the territory containing the insects and flowers they need to survive. Territorial contests are not just between males of the same species, as in this case with the sparkling violet ear. They also take place with males of other species, as well as with juveniles, and even with females. Hummingbirds are so aggressive in defending their territories that they even fight off other small birds, such as this bananaquit. Hummingbirds are among the most territorial birds on the planet. These little booted racket-tails balance with their long tails during their heated disputes. Here, a bronzy Inca and a colored Inca fight for a strategic perch from which they dart to catch insects. This Longomare's sun angel fends off an aggressor who wishes to steal his branch. This juvenile violet saberwing is displaced by an adult. A green thorntail and a white-necked Jacobin quarrel over a hibiscus plant. Clearly, size does not always matter when it comes to aggressiveness. With some exceptions, as in the case of the hermits, a varied marked sexual dimorphism exists in the different species of hummingbirds. Females are generally dull and muted in color, and although many show a certain degree of reflective glittering similar to that of the males, the brilliance of their plumage does not compare. Such cryptic coloration is likely a strategy to allow them to go undetected while raising their young. Indeed, in species where the males are known for their exceptionally long tails, this notable trait is lacking in the females. Hummingbirds' wings are rigid structures. The bones in the wing are fused together, thus permitting movement only at the shoulder. Hummingbirds are true aerial acrobats, tracing their wings horizontally in the shape of a figure 8. This technique gives them great agility in flight, though not without a cost. Nearly 1/3 of a hummingbird's weight is dedicated to the powerful muscles that permit them this incredible flying ability. Hummingbirds have taken their graceful flight to unbelievable and unexpected levels. Only by observing them in slow motion can we truly appreciate the perfection achieved by these birds in flight. Hummingbirds beat their wings from 20 to nearly 100 times per second, depending on the weight of the bird and the size of its wings. This frequency is lower in large and medium-sized species, but can reach 70 beats per second in the booted racket-tail and 80 beats per second in the tiny wood stars, which buzz about like bumblebees. Hummingbirds can readily fly in all directions at speeds that, in horizontal flight, reach 50 kilometers per hour. But, under certain circumstances, they are able to attain speeds of up to 130 kilometers per hour, when fighting over territory, for example. Here, a festive coquette evades a competitor, flies backward, and then returns to its perch. Hummingbirds have the densest plumage of all birds, often having the same number of feathers as much larger birds in merely 1/10 of the body's surface area. Their diminutive feet lack strength and are useful only for perching on small branches. The smallest disturbance forces them to take to the air. Hummingbirds show the greatest variety in bill shape and size in all known birds, from around 1/2 centimeter in the purple-backed thornbill to 10 centimeters in the sword-billed hummingbird. Their bills have evolved to fit the flowers of the plants from which they feed, though there are many exceptions. One would expect to find, feeding on shallow flowers with open petals, only small hummingbirds with very short bills, such as the coquettes, thorntails, and others. But the truth is many long-billed hummingbirds, such as this sparkling violet ear, also visit these flowers, in addition to many others. One of the many reasons this is such a successful species, not to mention its tremendous territoriality. Flowers of the heliconia plants present another interesting case. Of all hummingbirds, the white-tipped and buff-tailed sicklebills have the most curved bills, an adaptation to sip nectar from certain species of heliconia, which allows them to reach deep into the base of the flower, where the most nutritious and desired nectar is found. Nonetheless, hummingbirds from the genus Threnettis, with only slightly curved bills, visit the same heliconia flowers, though they must propel themselves strongly downward in order to reach the base of the flower. Many other species, with bills of varying lengths, also visit heliconia flowers. The hermits have slightly curved bills, some of which are very long, which permit them to visit a wide array of flowers. Hummingbirds of the genus Coolihena also have long bills that curve faintly upward at the tip. The most striking example is the sword-billed hummingbird, whose bill of more than 10 centimeters permits the bird exclusive access to some unique high Andean flowers, making this species their only pollinator. This trait frees the bird from having to compete with other species, so it has no need for the iridescent reflections most hummingbirds must display to impress their adversaries. In order to maintain their high metabolism, hummingbirds have hearts so large they represent 20% of their body weight. In flight and while feeding, their hearts beat frenetically at a rhythm of 1,200 beats per minute. Even while resting, their heart rate is a staggering 480 beats per minute, compared to 70 in humans. Hummingbirds do not spend all their time flying. More than half of the day they are perched, and much of their time is spent cleaning and sprucing up their delicate feathers. Hummingbirds need copious amounts of carbohydrates and oxygen. They consume between 30 and 100% of their body weight daily, principally as carbohydrates in the nectar they sip from flowers and as tiny insects that provide them with protein. One hummingbird can visit an estimated 1,000 flowers per day. It takes only 15 minutes for food to pass completely through their digestive system. Any savings that can be made in energy expenditure is most definitely welcome, such as perching near or even on the flowers they feed upon. It also helps to feed while perched and not hovering, and to pierce the base of the flowers directly. It is a widespread belief that hummingbirds feed only on nectar. when in fact the fructose found in nectar is nothing more than quick and easily obtained energy. Like all vertebrates, hummingbirds need protein and fats to maintain such an active and accelerated lifestyle. They can often be observed, especially in the early morning hours, around midday and in the late afternoon, darting from their perches in the hunt for small insects, even when it's raining. We have seen some hummingbirds carry out feats that seem highly unlikely, given their morphology. Here, a hummingbird of the genus Boisoneaua sips from a bromeliad. But while feeding, it also captured wasps 1 centimeter in length and swallowed them as easily as would any insectivorous bird of greater size. A hummingbird's normal body temperature is 40 degrees Celsius. In fact, they cannot fly if their internal temperature falls below 30 degrees. In the warm tropics, hummingbirds are able to expend less energy, as they do not need to vigorously heat themselves to maintain their body temperature. During the day, hummingbirds are in constant and frenetic movement, but at night they face a serious problem. How can a creature that must feed every 5 to 10 minutes to maintain its metabolism survive the long night? The answer is simple: by turning off its engines. The birds enter a state of temporary hibernation, called torpor, in which their cardiac rhythm falls to as low as 36 beats per minute, and they also spread their feathers to allow their body temperature to equalize with the external temperature. In tropical regions with mild to high temperatures, hummingbirds do not enter into torpor every night, as they do in the montane Andean climates. Rather, they do so only when their energy reserves are low. When it comes to reproduction, the female is in charge of virtually everything. As in most hummingbird species, the male participates only in copulation. Females lay 2 tiny white eggs that they incubate for roughly 3 weeks, during which time the female lowers her metabolism so she can eat less and thus spend most of her time in the nest. After birth, the nestlings are fed by regurgitation, initially with nectar and later supplemented with insects, providing them the protein needed for growth. The nestlings spend about 3 weeks in the nest, after which they remain with their mother for 1 to 3 months while they learn to take care of themselves. Due to these birds' dizzying way of life and the need to feed with such frequency, the mother endures a true test of survival while raising her young, probably one of the most difficult phases in the life of any animal. Suffice it to say that in some species, the female must bring several thousand insects to the nest each day in order to ensure proper development of the nestlings. A true achievement, especially considering she must feed herself as well. The ability to enter torpor at night, along with the design of their bodies and their tremendous capabilities in flight, have granted hummingbirds a unique position in the world of birds. They deserve every kind of adjective and qualifier we could think to give them. They are the most intrepid, agile, and exceptionally gifted flying beings in nature. The tiniest of all warm-blooded creatures of flight, and without doubt, the most beautiful and impressive birds in all the world. The flying jewels of the animal kingdom. An example of symbiosis and evolution that is, above all, truly unique.